meeting natin. Okay, now ang Physics 102 is basically electricity and magnetism. Okay, pero towards the end of the semester, i-combine natin yung concepts ng electricity and magnetism at makikita natin that by combining yung mga equations na matutunan natin sa electricity and yung mga equations na matutunan natin sa magnetism, yung combination ng mga equations na yun will lead to yung concept ng light. Okay? So it turns out na yung electromagnetism is the fundamental or yung nature talaga ng light. And that's going to happen, or that's something that you're going to learn pagdating sa fourth part, okay, nung Physics 102. Okay, and of all the physics series, okay, so 101 is mechanics, diba? 102 is electricity, magnetism. 103 is thermodynamics, optics. 104 is modern physics. Okay, ang 102, okay, yung pinaka mahirap. Okay, and the reason kung bakit ito yung pinaka mahirap is because of the first of all, because of the mathematics. Maraming integration, okay, maraming mathematical integration na gagawin. Okay, so heavy ito sa calculus, itong course na ito. Okay, so kailangan yung paghandaan, okay, yung tawag dito yung mathematics, okay, na involve dito sa course na ito. Okay, that's why kasabay ng course na ito yung pag-take ng Math 54. Secondly, yung concept ay medyo abstract. Unlike sa mechanics, hindi kasi natin nakikita yung charges. Diba? Sa tunay na buhay, I mean, hindi mo nakikita yung electric charge, hindi mo nakikita yung electric field, hindi mo nakikita kung ano nangyayari between two charges and so on and so forth. So we have to depend on yung images na ipoprovide and a lot of imagination. Okay, so yun yung reason kung bakit medyo complicated yung pag-aaral ng electricity and magnetism, yung Physics 102. Okay, so the way to survive this is to solve many exercises. Okay, yun lang yung suggestion na may bibigay ko sa inyo. Okay, kailangan nyo lang mag-practice. Okay, at the end of each chapter, marami namang mga exercises doon. Okay, pwede kayong mag-solve definitely ng mga exercises doon. And if you feel na nasa-solve nyo, then that's good for you. Okay, if you feel na hindi nyo masasolve, of course, that's the time that you consult. Okay, and in either case, whether masolve nyo o hindi, syempre, kung gusto nyo magpa-consult, you're always welcome to ask, whether via email or by going to the office. Okay, shinare ko sa inyo yung Google Calendar ko. And you'll find there my schedule kung kailan ako free. At the same time, meron din tayong consultation hours. Okay, so yun yung magiging basis niya para makita kung kailan tayo pwedeng magpo-consult. Okay? Okay, so let's begin. Yung first part ng Physics 102 is about electric charges. Okay. Electricity. Okay, we start with yung concept ng electricity sa electric charge. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of electric charge before sa science classes nyo nung elementary and then siguro sa high school kung meron kayong physics. So basically, ang electric charge is yung basic unit ng electricity. Okay, and we all know na pag sinabing electric charge, we're talking about electrons, protons, at saka neutrons. Okay, pag sinabi nating electrons, we typically assign them yung negative na charge. Okay, pag sinabi natin protons, we typically say na meron silang positive charge. And pag sinabi natin neutron, Okay, we say na sila yung neutral na charge. Okay. And it's because of this nature of these particles, electrons, protons, saka neutrons, na nagkakaroon tayo ng mga phenomenon at nagkakaroon tayo ng certain technologies, okay, na nagagamit natin sa everyday life. Okay. Now, I'm sure na ginawa nyo na rin to sa school, okay, before, okay, na or sa bahay, or siguro na experience nyo at some point na okay, nakaramdam kayo ng or nakita niyo yung mga pieces of paper na naghahang do sa suklay. Okay, or halimbawa tumatayo yung buhok ninyo. Okay, pag nakahawak kayo ng tawag dito, isang metal na sphere. Kung nakapunta na kayo sa Mind Museum, sa BGC, may mga ganun silang klase exhibit. Okay, and yung reason kung bakit nangyayari itong mga bagay nito is because of yung presence ng mga charges na ito. Okay, so what happens is that when pag ginamit niyo yung suklay na yan at nirub niyo against any object, okay, like yung buhok ninyo for example or sa damit, then it induces, okay, yung negative charges to appear. Okay? Well, then they don't really appear suddenly. Present naman ang itong mga charges na ito. Okay? Doon sa comb. Okay? Pero nagmo-move around yung mga charges. Okay? When you rub yung suklay, okay, for example sa buhok ninyo. Okay? In such a way na yung mga negative charges, okay, ay napupunta sa surface, okay, and that's the reason kung bakit na-attract yung mga papel doon sa comb. Kasi now, yung surface ng comb, okay, ay anong tawag dito, ay negatively charged, okay, and dahil negatively charged yung surface ng comb, okay, na-attract niya yung mga positive charges na nandoon sa papel. Okay. So bakit papel? Kasi pag mga pieces of paper, pag mapunit na papel na ganyan, sobrang gagaan nila. Okay. So pag nilapit mo yung suklay dun sa papel na yun, then na-attack yung mga pieces of paper. Okay. So we say na nag-i-induce tayo ng negative charge, okay, dun sa comb. Okay. And pag sinabi natin na induce, again, it's not charges that appear instantly. Nadi-displace lang yung mga charges around the comb in such that nagkakaroon ka ng negative charges dun sa surface. Eventually, mababalik din sila sa normal na state nila or sa equilibrium na state. Okay? So, yan yung idea behind yung kung bakit nag-work yung ganitong klaseng phenomenon or nakikita natin yung ganyang klaseng phenomenon. Okay. It's the same with any other material or plastic material. Okay. For example, mayroon kayong fur and then mayroon kayong plastic. Pag nirub nyo yung plastic against the fur, magkakaroon ka rin ng induced na negative charge. Again, ang nangyayari lang ay dun sa surface ng plastic ay nagkakaroon ka ng or nadi-displace yung electric charges or negative charges dun sa surface, okay, dun sa surface nung plastic. Okay, so mas nagiging negatively charged yung surface na yun at pag nilapit nyo sa papel for example or to another plastic, okay, na repel yung plastic na yun kasi alam natin na like charges repel. Okay? Pag yung glass naman against silk, yung glass ay nagiging positively charged. Okay? So if you bring it closer to another glass, okay, as in the picture, syempre magre-repel sila ulit. Kasi nga, like charges, repel. Okay, on the other hand, if you bring yung plastic na yan, okay, and yung glass together, okay, ang mangyayari is ma-attract sila sa isa't isa. tulad na nakikita nyo dito sa image, because opposite charges attract. Okay? Okay, so dito sa example na to, makikita natin na you can also induce positive charges, okay, which means that you can move the positive charge also to the surface of any material. Okay, so yan yung concept ng induction of charges. Okay, so like charges repel, pag parehong negative, magre-repel sila sa isa't isa. Pag parehong positive, magre-repel sila. Pero unlike charges, attract, and pag positive isa, negative isa, mag-attract sila sa isa't isa. Okay, and this is precisely yung concept na ginagamit in some technologies. Like for example, sa photocopy machine. Okay, so sa photocopy machine, ginagamit nila yung concept ng charges na ito. Okay, so if we look at this image, susundan lang naman natin yung steps. Okay, so we start with, of course, yung first step. Okay, okay, so meron kang, first of all, meron kang rotating na drum. Okay, so kung nakakita na kayo ng photocopy machine, pag binuksan niyo yung photocopy machine, or kung nakakita na kayo na binuksan na photocopy machine, di ba meron siyang parang cartridge, okay, na mga ganyang kalaki. Okay, and dun sa loob ng cartridge niya, meron itong rotating image na drum. Okay, at yung drum na yan, dyan nagsistick actually yung ink. But you don't want the ink to stick dun sa buong surface ng drum. So you want only certain surfaces ng drum na mag-stick yung ink para makapag-form ka ng pattern, okay, na ita-transfer mo dun sa papel. Okay, so yung first step dito is nag-spray ka ng ions, okay, which are positive charges, okay, dun sa drum. Okay, and then yung next step is meron kang laser beam that writes on the drum. Okay, so itong laser beam yung nagke-create ng pattern. Okay, yung pattern na yun yung gusto mong isulat dun sa papel, or gusto mong maging image nung na ililipat po dun sa papel. Okay, and by applying itong laser beam na to, you change the positive surfaces to yung areas na merong positive charges to areas na merong negative charges. Okay, and once you do that, okay, yung toner is positively charged. So ang mangyayari is ma-attract yung positive charge dun sa negative charge as the drum rotates. Okay, so pag na-attract na yung positive sa negative charge, dun na magsistick yung toner na positively charged dun sa drum. So again, meron ng mga certain areas, okay, na kung saan magsistick yung toner na yon. Okay, and habang umiikot yung drum, ita-transfer ngayon nung toner, o ita-transfer ngayon nung drum yung ink na yon dun sa papel. And for that to happen, dapat yung papel is also negatively charged. Okay, so kailangan mayroon ding ini-spray na negative charge dun sa paper para mag-adhere yung toner, which is positively charged dun sa papel. Okay, and as the rotating imaging drum rotates, okay, okay, pag-rotate niya dito, na-transfer na yung images dun sa drum, dun sa papel. Okay, and ngayon, the only thing to do is to dry the paper up, okay, para maging permanently attached yung toner dun sa papel. And then you reset yung charging, okay, by applying a light, okay, dun sa drum. Okay, and then sisimula ulit yung buong process. Apply ulit ng ions and so on and so forth. Okay, so yung basic concept nung like charges repel at saka unlike charges attract is applied to this type of technology. Okay, so marami pang ibang mga bagay na pwedeng paggamitan ng ganitong concept. Okay, and that's why this is a really fundamental na concept ng nature. Okay. Okay. So, any questions so far? Again, pag meron kayong tanong, you can ask by simply turning off your mic and then just ask your question, or you can leave a question dun sa chat box, sa Zoom chat. Okay. Then, tawag dito, we already talked about yung idea ng induction. Okay, so basically, what induction means is that you can move around, you can induce charges, but it doesn't mean na you're making charges appear. It only means that you're moving charges around inside a material. Okay, tawag dito. So if you have, for example, this is a image. If you have a metal ball, for example, okay, and yung metal ball na yun nakakonect sa isang insulator. Okay, and you apply, or you have another rod, okay, na negatively charged, at ilapit mo yung rod dun sa, okay, dyan sa metal ball na yan, ang mangyayari is madi-displace yung mga charges. Okay, syempre dahil yung rod ay negatively charged, lahat ng mga positive charges ay mapupunta dun sa surface kung saan malapit yung negative charge. Okay, at yung mga negative charges naman ay mapupunta dun sa surface kung saan malayo yung negative charge. Kasi like charges attract, like charges repel, and then like charges attract. Okay, so yung total charge na nandito is the same as when there's no rod. Okay, so in other words, okay, in a closed system, okay, yung total sum, okay, ng lahat ng charges na yan, okay, is constant. Okay, so sulat natin yan dito. So the algebraic sum of all the electric charges in a closed system is constant. Okay. So yung total charges na nandito is exactly the same as yung total charges na nandiyan. Yun lang, nag-move around lang yung charges. Okay. So if the metal ball was initially neutrally charged, here, when the rod is present, it's still neutrally charged. Okay, and ang nangyayari is namumove nga lang yung positive charge sa isang part ng surface at yung negative charge sa kabilang part ng surface. That's why when you touch the metal rod, okay, wala kayong nararamdaman na spark. Okay, kasi ang tawag dito, kasi yung total charge is neutral, is zero. Okay, kasi equal number yung positive charge at saka yung negative charge. Okay, but in this case, okay, pag na-induce na yung charges or nag-shift na yung charges sa isa't isa, and then you touch one part of the surface, like for example, itong surface na to na negatively charged, mararamdaman niyo yung spark kasi mas marami ng negative charge doon. And you can actually remove, okay, that negative charge by adding a wire, okay, na connected sa ground. Okay, so you remove the negative charges, okay, by attaching a wire directly to the ground. And now we are left with more positive charges, okay, than negative charge. So now we charged yung metal sphere na yan. Okay, So, dito nag-induce tayo ng charges. Okay. Okay, itong concept na to okay, ay tinatawag na principle of conservation of charge. Charge. Okay. So charges are conserved. Okay, but you can induce charges sa surface. Okay, and remove those charges. So you have induction of charges dun sa metal ball. Okay, so now both yung metal ball is positively charged at hindi na siya neutral at yung surface, yung ground, hindi na rin siya neutral. Okay, and that's why you have an insulator here. Okay, para hindi bumalik yung negative charges. Okay, dun sa metal surface. Okay, so this is how you charge a metal ball by induction. Now, ito rin yung reason kung bakit metal yung ginagamit natin kasi charges can easily move sa isang metallic na object. Okay. Okay, pero pag sa insulator, well, of course nakaka-move din sila. Okay, pero mas madaling at tanggalan ng charges yung metal ball. Okay. Now, let's continue with yung discussion natin nung charges. Okay. There is a fundamental concept, okay, that explains why these charges attract each other, okay, or repel depending on yung charge nila. Okay? And yung concept na yun ay tinatawag na Coulomb's law. Okay, and yung reason for that law is owes to the nature of the structure of the atom. Okay, so alam natin na yung atom, okay, is composed of a neutron, okay, a nucleus, okay, na kung saan dun sa nucleus na yun ay merong neutron at saka proton. So yung neutron has a negative charge, yung proton has a positive charge. And around that nucleus, at least yung picture na pinaprovide sa atin, around the nucleus, ando dun yung mga electrons, and they orbit around the nucleus at certain distances. Okay, you can remove, okay, some electrons, okay, and or add in electrons. Okay, ito naman yung concept ng ionization. Okay, you can remove them chemically or you can remove them mechanically. Okay, yun nga, by rubbing, diba? Chemically, by using yung chemistry concepts. Okay, and you can therefore change yung total charge ng isang atom. Okay, when you remove electrons at saka or when you add in electrons. Okay, so in that case, okay, pag yung total number of electrons at saka protons, okay, ay hindi na equal, then you have an imbalance of charges. Okay, then you say that the atom is either negatively charged or positively charged. Okay, so if the number of protons and the number of electrons are equal, okay, then you have a neutral atom, okay, as you can see here. Okay, so in a lithium atom, you have equal number of protons and neutrons. Okay, but if you remove a negative charge, okay, then you have more protons and neutrons than the lithium atom is positively charged. Okay, but if you add in an electron, okay, then you have more electrons than protons. Then the lithium atom is negatively charged. Okay, and yun. So you can do this by applying a force. And once you have atoms that are positively or negatively charges, then that's the time when when Coulomb's law kicks in. Kasi now yung mga atoms na ito ay na-attract or na-repel sa isa't isa. Okay, now ano ba tong Coulomb's law? Okay, so Coulomb's law states that the magnitude of the electric force between 2-point charges, okay, is directly proportional to the product of the charges, okay, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so let's break it. Let's break this down a bit. Okay, so first of all, meron ditong 2-point charges. Okay, so ang idea pag sinabing point charge is that yung charge doesn't have any dimension. Okay, so single point lang talaga siya. Okay. But even though wala siyang dimension o hindi natin i-consider yung size ng mga charges na ito, okay, meron pa rin silang mass. Okay, as we will find out later. Okay, now yung electric force, okay, is proportional to the product of these charges. So yun yung makikita nyo dito. Yung force is proportional to the product of the charges. And inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So inversely proportional to the square ng distance between these charges. Okay, so so yun yung Coulomb's law basically. And if you think about it, okay, sa classical mechanics, okay, sa 102, okay, we have a similar form of equation. Okay, so sa 102, yung force, yung gravitational force is proportional do sa product ng masses. Okay, at inversely proportional sa square ng distance between them. Okay, so itong idea na to, okay, na yung force is inversely proportional sa square ng distance between them ay yung tinatawag na inverse square. Okay, inverse square law. Okay, and it seems like itong inverse square law na ito is somewhat universal kasi nakikita natin na yung at least yung inform, okay, nandiyan presence sa gravity, nakita natin na ganun din siya sa electric force, and makikita natin na sa magnetism meron din ganyang klaseng concept. Okay? So yung behavior na ito na kung saan yung force ay inversely proportional sa square ng distance between any point objects, okay, is called the inverse square law. And it seems na universal itong law na ito. Okay. I'm only saying that I'm saying that as well kasi minsan nakakalimutan nyo kung ano yung equation, di ba? And the only thing that you need to remember is yung inverse square law. Okay? And that it's the same, okay, for any concept, whether it's gravity, or electricity, or magnetism. Okay? So yun, para matandaan nyo lang yung ano na yun, yung concept na yun. Okay, sandali. Dito pa lang. Okay, so yan. Meron tayong absolute value for the charges. Okay. Kasi hindi natin i-take into account at this point, okay, yung charge nila. Okay, kasi tinitingnan lang natin yung magnitude, okay, nung force. Okay, now yung proportionality constant, okay, ay K. Okay, and that proportionality constant is actually equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, yung epsilon naught is called the permittivity of free space. Okay, and this is actually an extremely important constant. Okay. And makikita natin yung significance ng constant na to pagdating natin sa fourth part ng Physics 102 when we begin to describe yung pag-combine ng electric equations at saka ng magnetic na equations. Okay? Now, yung value ng constants na ito, yung K for example, okay, is equal to 8.98 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. Okay, or kung gusto ninyo, you can write it as approximately equal to 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. Okay, mas madali siguro tandaan ito, no? Kasi 9 na siya, rounded up to 9. Okay, so 9 times 10 to the 9. Okay? Tawag dito, if you use this 9 times 10 to the 9, okay, instead of 8.988, okay, magkakaroon lang kayo ng minor na tawag dito, difference, okay, pagdating sa value na makukompute nyo, for example, sa force. Okay. Okay, and in an exercise or siguro sa exam, okay, yung minor difference na yun is acceptable. Okay, kung makita ko na yan yung ginamit nyo na constant instead of itong value na ito. Okay? Now, yung K na yan, sinabi natin ay related sa permittivity of free space through this equation, 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, and so yung epsilon naught ngayon has this value, 8.854 times 10 to the minus 12 coulomb squared per Newton meter squared. Okay, so 8.854 times 10 to the minus 12. So that's something na hindi madaling i-memorize. Okay, pero syempre, yan din yung mga bagay na hindi nyo namang kailangan talagang i-memorize and ilalagay natin yan sa 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 exam. Okay, ibibigay yan sa exam as a given. Okay, but tulad ng sinabi ko earlier, if you solve a lot of exercises, okay, unti-unti nyo makakabisado yung mga values ng constants na yan. Okay, so that it becomes like parang mobile number nyo lang kasi dahil parati yung ginagamit yung cellphone number ninyo. Okay, natatandaan nyo. In the same way, if you do a lot of exercises, if you repeat exercises over and over again, then matatandaan nyo rin itong mga numbers na ito. Okay? So, this Coulomb's law is extremely fundamental. Okay, so much so na pagdating nyo sa third year physics, when you begin to study electricity and magnetism, okay, electromagnetism, physics 171, tsaka 172, you always start with Coulomb's law. Okay, sa electricity part. Pagdating nyo sa optics, okay, you also start with, or you also use yung concept na yan sa physics 175. Okay, yeah. Okay, so any questions? Okay. Sige, walang questions so far. So now, remember that this is a force. Okay. So ibig sabihin nito, okay, na it's actually a vector quantity. Okay, and when we talk about vector quantities, okay, we usually refer to or we usually treat these vector quantities, okay, mathematically, okay, in a different way. So pag vector quantities, ibig sabihin meron siyang x and y components, x, y, z components. So if you want to understand or if you want to solve problems involving these forces, kailangan yung i-break apart ito into their sometimes you have to break them apart into their components, x and y or maybe z components. Okay, para ma-solve niyo lang yung problem. Okay, and ito yung concept na medyo nagpapakomplika sa pag-solve ng mga electricity problems involving electricity. Okay, and that it's because of yung vector na nature yung force. Okay? Okay, so para maintindihan niyo kung paano gamitin itong mga ito equation na ito, diretso na natin sa pag-solve ng exercises. Okay? So this is actually example in the book. So example 21.1. Okay, so this is in page 687 sa Young and Friedman. Okay. Okay, so an alpha particle. Okay. An alpha particle is the nucleus of a helium atom. So in other words, tinanggal nyo yung charges, okay, around the nucleus. Around the nucleus. Ano bang helium? Ang helium is an atom with two electrons. So may two protons siya, and then you also have two neutrons. Okay, so pag tinanggalan nyo ng electrons, yung helium atom, then you have an alpha particle. And that alpha particle therefore has a charge of plus 2e. Kasi wala na yung electrons. Okay. So, by the way, no, meron akong nakalimutan na sabihin. Okay, now, so yung proton, okay, has a positive charge, okay, and yung electron also has a positive charge. Electron has a negative charge. Yung mass ng proton is 1.673 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms, okay, and then yung mass ng electron ay 9.109 times 10 to the minus 31 kilograms. Okay, tapos yung neutron, which has no charge, has a mass of 1.675 times 10 to the minus 27 kilogram. Again, hindi nyo kailangan tandaan yung mga yan. Okay, pero yung charge, okay, na hindi ko ata nasulat dito. Okay, or hindi ko na-include. Okay, yung charge ng electron is 9.1 or 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19. Okay. Ilagay lang natin yung charge dito. So in the book, so you have an electronic charge that is equal to 1.602 1.76634 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Okay, so you don't have to use lahat ng mga digits na yan. Okay, 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulombs. Okay, that is already sufficient. Okay. So ang isang electron ay merong ganito karaming charge. Okay. And yung proton also has this amount of charge, pero positive lang yung proton. Okay, so going back dun sa ating exercise. So if we have an alpha particle, okay, and you remove, you only get an alpha particle if you remove two electrons from the helium atom. So you're left with a positive charge, okay? Dalawang protons, so positive 2e. Okay, so which means na ang charge ng alpha particle is 3.2 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Okay, twice ng 1.6 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. Okay, and yung mass ng helium atom is 6.64 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms. Okay, again, nakuha yan by simply adding yung mass ng neutron, twice the mass ng neutron, at saka twice the mass ng proton. Okay, so pag ito minultiply nyo by 2 and then ito minultiply nyo by 2 and you add them together, you get this mass. Okay. So you're asked to compare between the electric repulsion between two alpha particles with that of the gravitational attraction between them. Okay, so yung electric, so if you have two alpha particles, okay, so ang idea dito is, okay, so So, hindi pala nasama yung picture. Sandali ah. Include lang natin itong picture para hindi na ako magdodrawing ulit. Um, okay. Yeah. Then, i-add natin yung picture na yan. Okay. So, saan natin lalagay? Yan. So, ito yung figure. Okay. So, we have itong dalawang alpha particles na ito. And these two alpha particles are negatively charged. Okay. And since positively charged. And since positively charged silang dalawa, okay, pag pinagtabi niyo sila, magre-repel sila sa isa't isa. So, the alpha particle will be pulled away. Will be pulled away from the other alpha particle. So, ipupush nila yung isa't isa away from each other. Okay, so kasi nga nagre-repel sila. Okay, so ano ngayon yung force ng electric repulsion? Okay. So we know we can solve yung force ng electric repulsion, okay, by using Coulomb's law. Okay, so I'm going to put a subscript of E there, okay, to indicate na electric repulsion yung tinitingnan natin. Okay, at sinabi natin na it's equal to K and then absolute value ng Q1, Q2 over R squared. Okay, so ang K is 9 times 10 to the 9, times tawag dito, Newton per meter square, Coulomb squared per Newton meter square. Okay? And then, hindi natin alam yung distance between them. Okay? But that's fine. Okay? So, actually, hindi natin kailangan ilagay yung constant value ng K dyan. Kailangan lang natin ilagay is yung Q1 at saka Q2. Okay? And since pareho sila, yung Q1 is equal to Q2, kasi pareho naman tong alpha particle, okay, we can write Q squared. Okay, so Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to Q because they're both the positive charge of the alpha particle. Okay. Okay. Now, iwan ko muna yan dyan. Di natin kailangang ilagay muna yung values. Tignan naman natin yung nangyayari sa yung gravitational force. Okay. So sa gravitational force, okay, sinasabi, okay, na these particles actually attract each other. Okay. Kasi gravity. Okay, nag-attract sila dahil sa gravitational force between them. Okay. So, we already wrote yung equation for the gravitational force earlier. Sinabi natin na yun ay equals sa G, yung universal constant, times, hindi natin kailangan lagyan ng absolute value dyan. So, M1, M2 over R squared. So, this will become G over R squared, tapos M squared. Okay, kasi yung M1 at saka yung M2 ay equal lang sa isa't isa. Pareho silang alpha particle. Okay, so equals siya sa 6.64 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms. Okay, so what we want to do is to compare yung magnitude ng electric repulsion, okay, with that of the gravitational attraction. Okay, so what we can do is to take the ratio, okay, of these two forces. Okay, so by doing that, we have K over G, tapos Q squared over M squared. And nawala na yung R squared kasi magkakancel sila sa isa't isa. Okay, so If you want, we can do that step by step. Okay, so k q squared over r squared all over g m squared over r squared. And yung r squared na yan, okay, ay makakancel. Okay, so makakancel yan. And what we are left with is k q squared over g m squared. Okay, so ipapasok lang natin yung mga values na yan. So we have 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. And then yung charge ng alpha particle, which is 3.2 times 10 to the minus 19 coulomb divided by yung gravitational constant. Okay, if you recall, it's 6.67 times 10 to the minus 11 Newton meter squared per kilogram squared. Okay, and then you have yung mass nila, which is 6.64 times 10 to the minus 27 kilograms. Okay. Okay. So what we'll end up with is 3.1 times 10 to the 35. Okay. Yung units will cancel. Okay. So Newton, Newton. Okay. Meter squared will cancel. Okay. Sorry. Nakalimutan ko yung square dito at saka yung square dito. Okay. So dahil meron kang coulomb squared dyan, magka-cancel siya with a coulomb squared here, and dito, kilogram squared will cancel with a kilogram squared dyan. Okay, and you'll have dimensionless result. Okay, dapat lang kasi parehong force to, di ba? Okay, so dahil you're just taking the ratio of these forces, so yung result should have no dimension. Okay, so 3.1 times 10 to the 35. Okay, ang ibig sabihin nito, so yung Fe ay equal sa approximately 10 to the 35 times ng gravitational force. So, ibig sabihin yung electric force is this much larger kumpara sa gravitational force. So, yung gravitational force is actually negligible in this system. Okay. So, the gravitational force is negligible. Okay. And that's why we don't consider yung effects ng gravity when we're studying electricity and magnetism. And this is the reason why. Okay. Yung electric force is so much larger than the gravitational force that you can neglect yung effects ng gravitational force. Okay. And that is true also then pagdating sa magnetism. So yung idea na to, okay, also means that in an atom, okay, hindi nila nararamdaman yung electrons tsaka yung protons tsaka yung nucleus, okay, hindi nila nararamdaman yung gravity. As in wala silang nararamdaman na gravitational force of attraction between them. If the positive tsaka negative charges attract, it's because of yung idea na negative na unlike charges sila. Okay? So we can in this realm of the atoms, ang nananaig na force is yung electric na force, and gravitational force is extremely small. Okay, so yan, hindi natin kailangan i-consider yung force na yan. Yung gravitational force, ibig sabihin. Okay. Okay. May nakalimutan ba ako? Any questions at this time? Okay, so inulit lang natin tong, I know that this exercise is already in the book. Okay, and pero maganda na i-consider natin tong exercise na to kasi gusto natin ipakita dito sa exercise na we don't need to factor in yung gravitational force when we're studying electricity and magnetism. Okay, kasi ito nga, positive 2e lang eh. Di ba? Dalawang charges lang yan. Okay, how much negligible will the gravitational force be pag mas marami ng charges, di ba? So yun. And yung force na to, we actually feel this force. Okay, sa macroscopic level. Okay, so now we're looking at the atomic level. Pero sa macroscopic level, nafe-feel natin yung repulsive na force na yan. Hindi lang between alpha particles, but between any type of particle. How do we feel yung repulsive force na yan? Well, think of it like this. Okay? So, libawa, ito, yung kamay na to, di ba? Yung kamay ko. Okay. Bakit hindi sila tawag dito? Or bakit hindi pwedeng lumusot yung isang kamay ko dun sa kabilang kamay? So bakit ko tinatanong yan? Kasi if you look at yung atom, ang liliit lang ng mga electrons tsaka protons, okay, tsaka neutrons, okay, na sobrang daming free space around them. Okay? And we all know that we're just composed of these atoms, okay, in different number of electrons, diba? So bakit pag na-expect natin na since sobrang daming space na present between atoms, bakit hindi lumulusot? Okay, yung kamay ko sa isa't isa. Bakit pag sumuntok kayo sa pader, hindi lumulusot yung kamao niyo dun sa pader? Bakit kayo pag dumiretso kayo sa pader, hindi kayo lumulusot sa pader? Okay, and that's because of the electric repulsive forces between yung electrons na present dito sa isang kamay ko at saka yung electrons na present dito sa kabilang kamay. So this is actually electric repulsion at work sa macroscopic na level. Okay. Pag sinuntok niyo yung pader, sinampal niyo yung mukha nung kasama niyo, okay, o sinampal niyo yung sarili niyo, that's electric repulsion at work. Okay, tawag dito, and you see it all around. Okay, and you feel yung electric repulsion na to at yung level na ginagalawan natin. Okay, so siguro the next time na maglalakad kayo or tawag dito, you're just walking around campus, okay, makikita nyo yung electric repulsion everywhere. Kakaroon kayo ng panibagong perspective about this concept, about sabihin natin the world. Kasi this is all Coulomb's law, okay, at work. Okay, so just browsing through kasi tinitignan ko meron akong nakalimutan na idea dito, na concept. Okay, one of the things that makes 102 complicated, okay, electricity and magnetism complicated is because of yung charge na Q1 tsaka Q2. Q1 and Q2 can be positive or negative. In contrast, yung gravitational force, okay, yung mass doesn't have a charge. It's always positive. Okay, and this is what makes electric force extra complicated dahil meron kang positive and negative charge to think with. So yung force na yan will have, in vector form, will have both either a positive or a negative charge. And how do you interpret yung sign ng electric force, okay, when you solve problems? And that's what we're going to tackle sa mga next na exercises. So, okay, so in all of our classes sa Physics 102, okay, and some of you estudyante ko rin sa 121, Okay, since 2 hours yung class, okay, magbe-break tayo for about 10 minutes, okay, at the middle of class. So it's about 11:30 okay, right now. So magbe-break muna tayo ng 10 minutes. Okay, just stretch, walk around. Okay, take a look at your surroundings in a different way kasi now you're looking at Coulomb's law at work. Okay, in the meantime, magpa-play lang ako ng music. Okay? So 10 minutes, balik tayo by 11:41. Okay, recording. Okay. So yung next problem na isa-solve natin is this. So 2-point charges. Okay. Yung isang charge ay merong positive 25 nanocoulomb. Remember, this is a prefix. And this prefix is nano, okay, which means na 10 to the minus 19. Okay. And then yung second charge ay merong negative 75 nanocoulomb. So, identified na rin dito kung positive siya or negatively charged. And they're separated by a distance r na equal sa 30 centimeters. Okay. 3.0 centimeters. Okay, so find the magnitude and direction of the electric force, okay, that Q1 exerts on Q2 and that Q2 exerts on Q1. Okay, so ang idea dito is that meron kang positive charge, and then meron ka rin negative charge, and they're separated by a distance r. Okay? So yung mga given quantities natin, okay, actually this is a given quantity. So meron kang dalawang charges, okay, separated by a distance r. Yung charge, ito yung charge Q1 is positively charged. Ito yung charge Q2, which is negatively charged. Q1 is positive 25 nanocoulomb or positive 25 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Sorry, mali pala yung pagkasulat ko dito. So it's not 19 but it's minus 9. Okay, and yung Q2 ay negatively charged, so it's negative 75 nanocoulomb. So minus 75 times 10 to the minus 9. And yung distance between them is 3.0 centimeters, but we have to convert this to meters, so 0.03 meter. Okay, kasi yung force, di ba, yung constants ay may unit na Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. So kailangan meter yung ginagamit natin para makancel kung ano man yung kailangan makancel. Okay, so letter A, find the magnitude and direction and of the electric force that exerts Q1, that Q1 exerts on Q2. So this is the force that Q1 exerts on Q2. Okay, F Q1 on Q2. Okay, or siguro para mas compact. Okay, so F of charge 1 on charge 2. Okay. And sa letter B, pinapahanap din yung force na in-exert ng Q2 on charge Q1. Okay. And now it's not asking for just the magnitude, but also the direction of the electric force. Okay. And this is where, tawag dito, this is where yung vector concept okay, comes in. So now we have to think of the electric force as a vector quantity. Okay, which means that we have to set a coordinate system. So along the given quantities ay merong coordinate na system. Okay, okay. So let's say na ito yung ating coordinate system, positive charge x ay towards the towards the right. Okay? Okay, so ito yung ano, no, ito yung additional complication dito kasi now we know na yung charges can be positive or negative, which means na yung F can also be positive or negative. But then we also have to think about yung coordinate system kasi now we're saying na yung positive x direction ay towards the tawag dito, towards the right. So dalawa ang sources ng positive tsaka negative sign, yung charges tsaka yung coordinate system. But if you do this right, okay, then meaning that if you factor in yung positive tsaka negative charges and you actually define yung ano or yung you use the definition of the positive direction correctly, then you will see na yung mga sagot ninyo ay consistent. Okay, and that's what's going to happen here. Okay, so let's consider muna yung letter A. So F force na in-exert ng Q1 on Q2. Okay, so ang equation natin is yung Coulomb's law. So that's K Q1 Q2 over R squared. Now, since this is a vector, okay, bakit vector? Kasi meron ng direction na kailangan natin i-consider. Okay, tignan natin ngayon kung anong direction yung force na yan. Force na in-exert ng Q1 on Q2. So ano ang in-exert na force ng Q1 on Q2? So Q1, Q2, okay, force na in-exert ng charge na to on this charge. Ang ginagawa ng Q1, hinihila niya papunta sa kanya yung charge. Right? Di ba? So, in relation sa pinili nating coordinate system, yung force na ito is actually towards the negative x direction. Okay. And since nasa negative x direction siya, maglalagay tayo ng negative I hat, okay, na unit vector dyan. Okay, to indicate I hat, to indicate that it's along the x-axis, and negative to indicate na it's along the x-axis but towards the negative direction. Okay, so this tells us that it's along the x-axis, and this tells us na it's towards the negative x direction. Okay. Based sa coordinate system na pinili natin. Wait. So chosen na coordinate system. Okay? And that's why it's important to define yung coordinate system sa simulang-simula pa lang. Okay? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is to plug in yung mga values na yan. So, F1 on 2 ay equal sa 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared times Q1 is plus 25. Okay. Ano itong gawin natin? Burahin ko muna ito. And then I'm going to move this here. Kasya ba? Di yata kasya. Dito na lang. Yeah, okay. Sige lang. Plus 25 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Then minus 75 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. All over. Okay, 0.03 meters squared. Huwag natin kalimutan yung square na yan. And then may negative I hat tayo dyan. Okay. Okay. So, ang F1 on 2 Okay, I equals Q1 exerts on Q2. Okay, I equals 0.019 newtons. Okay, and then you have a positive charge, a positive direction. Okay, wait lang. Hmm, no, in-anticipate kasi natin. Sorry. Hindi ko dapat nilagay na positive I dito. Na negative I dyan. So, sorry. Dapat nilagay ko lang I. Okay, ulitin natin So, ulitin ko lang. Dapat ang ilalagay lang dito is I hat. Okay? Bakit I hat? Kasi lilitaw yung negative charge o yung negative direction dun sa dito. Yan. Okay, so yan. Okay. So dyan, lumitaw yung negative direction. Wait, sandali lang. Okay, so now we see na ang force na in-exert ng 1 on 2 ay merong ganitong magnitude at yung direction ay dictated by this. So again, this means na along the x-axis, okay, dapat hindi natin kasi in-anticipate yun doon. Okay, we just write it as I hat sa simula. Okay. And then ito indicates na towards the negative x direction. Okay, which is kung ano may in-expect natin dito. Okay, so for letter B, okay, F force na in-exert ng 2 on 1, okay, I equals sa K Q1 Q2 over R squared. Ay, wait. Mm, mm, Wait. Okay, so iba dapat pala yung approach in this case. Sorry. Okay, so ganito. Okay. Wait, bigyan niyo na ako ng 1 minute. Okay, so even ako nalilito sa sign. Okay. So ibahin natin yung approach. Okay, so tanggalin ko muna yan. Okay. So, okay, so hindi muna natin siya i-consider as a vector quantity sa simula. Okay, so titignan lang muna natin yung magnitude. Okay, so sa simula, compute lang muna natin yung magnitude. Okay. Yeah, compute lang muna natin yung magnitude. Okay, so ibig sabihin, ito ay positive. Okay, so yung magnitude ng in-exert ng 1 on 2 is 0.019. And then yung final answer niyo dyan is incorporate niyo na yung unit vector. Okay. And you derive this unit vector based on this figure. Okay. So in the same way, sa letter B, yung force na in-exert ng 2 on 1 okay, is kung ito yung Q1, and then ito yung Q2. Okay, so yung force na in-exert ng Q2 on 1 is that hinihila niya, okay, papunta sa kanya yung positive charge. Okay, so in this case, okay, alam natin na ito ay equal lang din sa 0.019 yung magnitude. Pero yung direction, okay, at least base dito sa figure na ito, okay, base dito sa figure na ito ay towards the positive x-axis, 0.19 positive I hat. Okay. So I hat indicates yung tawag dito. I hat indicates na along the x-axis siya, and then yung negative sign indicates na in this case towards the negative direction, at ito naman indicates that it's towards the positive direction as we see dito sa figures na ito. Okay. Okay. Yes. Question.
Excuse me, sir. What if we were to switch the positions of Q1 and Q2? Won't their directions also change?
Yeah. Okay, sige.
And that
Yeah, we can do that. So let's say napalitan natin yung positions, no? So buburahin ko to Okay, and syempre tatanggalin ko muna to. Okay. So ang gagawin natin is, so halimbawa, ang dinrawing nyo, okay, ito yung Q, sorry. Ito yung Q2, okay, and then ito yung Q1. Okay. So in this case, itong force, ito sa letter A, it's asking for the charge, yung force na in-exert ng Q1 on Q2. So force na in-exert ng Q1 on Q2. Okay. And alam natin na ang gagawin ng Q1 sa Q2 is hihilain niya towards the positive X direction based dito sa pinili natin coordinate system. Okay, so ang gagawin nyo is isisulat nyo ngayon dito is plus I hat. Okay, and para sa letter B, since it's asking for force na in-exert ng Q2, force na in-exert ng Q2 on Q1, okay, so alam natin na ang Q2, hihilain nyo yung Q1 in this direction. So ang gagawin nyo rito is lalagyan nyo ngayon to ng negative na I hat na unit vector. Medyo clear ba yun? Or nasagot ko ba yung tanong mo? Okay, good. Thank you. I'm glad na hindi kayo na-confused dun sa explanation na ito. Okay. So yeah, even though sa simula medyo ako na-confused din. Okay. So, any other questions? Yes, go ahead. Sige, si Matthew muna, Xavier muna, and then afterwards si Ayana. Sige, Xavier, go ahead.
Question po dun sa may solving part.
Sure.
When do we, kailan pa natin tatanggalin yung absolute value sign?
Okay, sige. Yeah, I understand na nagkaroon ng confusion, no, kasi medyo na-confuse nga din ako sa simula. So ganito lang gawin niyo. So meron ba akong andito? So siguro for now, what we can follow is to step 1, we just solve for the magnitude. Okay, yan yung pwede niyong gawin na muna. And then step 2, okay, identify the direction, okay, based on yung chosen coordinate system. Okay? So, which means na as a step 1, kailangan nyo talagang ilagay yung absolute value na sign. Okay? Kasi you're just solving for the magnitude. Okay. May sense ba yun? Okay, sige. Good. Sige, Ayana.
Sir, di na po kasi nasagutan naman po. Same po
Ah,
kami ng question ni Savi po. Thank you
okay,
po.
sige. Okay, good, good. Okay. So, may questions pa? Okay. Sige. Thank you for your questions at buti at nalinawan kayo. Okay, now, this is in one dimension. Okay, so yung next example will involve a problem in two dimensions. Okay, so ito yung ating problem ngayon. Okay, wait, hindi yata two dimensions to. Itong next problem ay yung two dimensions. So ito ay nasa x-axis lang siya. Sige, solve din natin ito. Okay, 2-point charges are located on the x-axis. Okay, of a coordinate system. Q1 okay, is 1 nanocoulomb is at x equals positive 2 centimeters, and Q2 is equal to negative 3 nanocoulomb is at x equal to 4 centimeters. Okay, so this time, in-identify niya exactly kung nasaan yung location ng mga charges in relation dun sa coordinate system. Okay, so ang tanong is, what is the total electric force exerted by Q1 and Q2 on a charge Q3, 5 nanocoulomb at x equals 0? So the difference between this problem and yung previous problem is that itong previous problem, you have two charges and you're looking at yung effect nung dalawang charges sa isa't isa. And this, if you look at this problem carefully, it sort of reminds you yung Newton's third law of motion. Kasi so third law of motion, it's the action-reaction. So the force that Q1 exerts on Q2 is equal in magnitude to the force that Q2 exerts on Q1. Okay, and pero opposite sila in direction. So this is an example of Newton's third law of motion. But here, this is an example of Newton's second law. Okay, kasi here we have two charges that are exerting forces on a third charge. And gusto nating malaman kung ano yung net effect nung dalawang charges on the third charge. Okay? So ito yung difference between this problem and the previous one. Okay, so kunin ko lang tong figure na ito. Okay, at lilipat ko lang. Lalagay ko lang sa sa slide na to. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I hope na this figure will help us a bit. Kung anong nangyayari dito. Oh, shoot. Okay, so we have these charges Q1. Okay. Okay, sabi dito which is located at x equals 2 centimeters and Q2 which is at x equals 4 centimeters. So syempre, ang una nyo dapat gawin dyan is to write a coordinate system. Okay, so ito yung coordinate system natin. Okay, ito yung x-axis is in the positive direction and ito yung origin, okay, origin O, and yung Q1 is at 2 centimeters, x equals 2 centimeters, tas yung Q2 is at 4 centimeters. Okay. Dito binigay ko yung figure, no? Pero kailangan yung, in a problem such as this, sometimes the figures are not given. So you have to you extract or you draw yung situation or make the diagram based on kung ano yung given. Okay, and then yung Q3 is located at x equals 0, so nasa origin siya. Okay, so kaya nandiyan yung Q3. And then given din yung mga charges ng Q1, Q2 at saka Q3. Okay, so i-erase ko to. Okay, kasi para hindi masyado marami naka-drawing dyan. Okay, and tignan natin ngayon yung effect ng Q1 tsaka Q2 on Q3. Now, i-analyze muna natin yung nangyayari before we solve the problem. So tignan natin yung effect ng Q1 on Q3. Anong gagawin ng Q1 sa Q3? Since pareho silang charges, ang gagawin ng Q1 sa Q3 ay i-repel niya ipupush niya away yung Q3. So that will give us a negative I hat, okay, na force. Okay? And then ang Q2, since negative charge siya, ang gagawin niya is i-attract niya yung Q3. So ipupull niya towards its location, yung Q3. Okay, so gusto natin malaman ngayon kung alin yung mas malakas, yung Q1 on Q3 or Q2 on Q3. And kung sino yung mas malakas, syempre doon pupunta yung direction, yung Q3. Okay, doon siya mag-move. Okay, so ang approach natin dito is tulad ng ginawa natin before. Step 1, solve for the magnitude muna. And then step 2, saka natin i-identify yung direction. Okay, so yung magnitude, okay, muna ng Q1 on Q3 ang isolve natin. So F1 on 3. Okay, so magnitude ng F1 on 3 muna yung isolve natin. So K, Q1, Q3, absolute value over R squared. So 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared times Q1, which is 1 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. And then Q2, which is absolute value. 3 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Okay, all over. Okay, gaano kalayo ang Q1 from Q3? Ang distance between them is 2 centimeters. Okay, so ilalagay natin dito ngayon ay 0.02 meters. And then wag natin kalimutan yung squared. Okay, and if you solve for that, we have this will be equal to 112 times 10 to the minus 6 newtons or 112 micronewtons. Okay. Okay. So alam natin now we include yung direction. So F1 on 3 is equal to 112 micronewtons. And based dun sa analysis natin kanina, Q1 will push Q3 away towards the negative x direction. So ang ilalagay natin dito ngayon ay negative I hat. Okay. Then tignan natin yung effect ng Q2 on Q3. So F2 on 3. Okay, so we have K Q2 Q3 over R squared equal to 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared coulomb squared. And then ang Q2 is 3 nanocoulomb. 3 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. And then Q3, 5 pala to. Okay, but the answer is still 112. Okay, so 5 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Okay, and then ano yung distance between Q2 and Q3? It's 4 centimeters. Okay, so 0.04 meters squared. And this will give us 2 on 3, 84 micronewtons. 84 times 10 to the minus 6 newtons or 84 micronewtons. So, in vector form, F2 on 3 is 84 micronewtons. And alam natin from this figures analysis natin kanina na hihilain ng Q3 papunta sa Q2. Okay, hilain ng Q2 yung Q3 papunta sa Q2. That's towards the positive x-axis. Okay, so this will have to write positive I hat dito. So yung total electric force exerted by Q1 and Q2, okay, is then given by yung sum ng forces na ito. F1 on 3 and then F2 on 3. So this is 112 micronewtons negative I hat plus 84 micronewtons positive I hat. So yung F total ngayon is equal to negative or 28 micronewtons tapos negative I hat. Okay. So which means na ang net effect dito is that yung Q3 will move towards the negative x direction. Oops, sorry. Maling vector representation yan. Okay, since shorter yung okay, mas maliit yung yan. Okay, mas maliit yung blue kaysa yung pink, di ba? Kasi smaller yung niya, yung tawag dito yung magnitude. Okay, so yung net effect is to push Q3 away from both of these charges. Okay? Clear ba ito? Meron bang questions? Okay. Sige, we have time for one more exercise. Okay, so now yung problem na ito involves forces between two charges. Etong problem na ito involves forces ng two charges na in-exert ng two charges on a third charge. Okay, and then this problem also involves force na in-exert ng dalawang charges on a third charge, but this time wala sila sa isang axis, nasa dalawang tawag dito, magkaiba sila ng location. Okay, or yung problem na to is two-dimensional. Okay. So tawag dito, now we're going to use as well yung y-axis and yung unit vector that corresponds to the y-axis, which is j hat. So i-pull ko ulit lang yung figure na ito. Okay. Okay, para sa na pwede natin gamitin dito. Okay. Okay. So, itong problem na ito, it involves two equal positive charges and a third charge. So, yung dalawang equal na positive charges, Q1 and Q2, okay, ay equal sa 2 microcoulombs. They're located at x equals 0. Okay, yung isa, they're both located at x equals 0. So, nasa origin sila, okay, along the x-axis. Pero yung isa ay nasa 0.3 meters vertically at yung isa naman ay nasa negative 0.3 meters vertically. So ito yung kanilang mga location. Okay, so both of them are on the negative x-axis, on the x equals 0 at the origin horizontally. Pero vertically, yung isa ay 0.3 meters above the origin at yung isa naman ay 0.3 meters below the origin. So negative 0.30 meters, yung location ng pangalawa. Okay, so what are the magnitude and direction of the total electric force that Q1 and Q2 exert on a third charge? Okay, yung third charge ay located at x equals 4.4 meters and y equals 0. So nandito yung location ng third charge. Okay? Dito. So, in this case, okay, we have to consider yung components ng forces. So, ano ibig ko sabihin dito? So, tignan muna natin i-analyze muna natin yung nangyayari, okay, bago tayo mag-compute. So tingnan muna natin yung Q1 na force na in-exert ng Q1 on capital Q. Okay, so anong ginagawa ng positive charge na to dito sa positive charge na to? Siyempre pareho silang positive charges, so ipo-push niya away, okay, yung Q. Okay, pero yung line na yon, yung force na yon ay along the line that connects, okay, these two. So ito yung force na yon. Okay, and that force with respect to the coordinate system ay merong x component at y component. Okay? Next, yung effect naman ng Q2 on capital Q is, since pareho silang positive charge, ay ipupull niya rin away from it yung capital Q. Okay, at yung direction ng force ay in this direction, which is along the line that connects, okay, yung dalawang positive charges na to sa isa't isa. And this force also has an x component and a y component. Okay, so ang gagawin natin dito is, of course, step 1, okay, to identify or to solve these forces in terms of magnitude only. Okay, step 2, okay, is to break yung force na ito into its x and y components. Okay, and then step 3, to add these forces, okay, along the x-axis tsaka along the y-axis. Okay, and then tignan natin yung net force na yun, okay, as a result of yung ginawa nating calculation na yun. Okay, so yung step 1, kunin muna natin yung kanilang magnitude. Okay, so anong magnitude ng Q1 on Q2? So Q1 on Q. Q1 on Q. So K Q1Q over R squared. So equal to 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. And then ang Q1 is 2 times 10 to the minus 9 coulomb. Okay, ang Q is 4 times 10 to the minus 6 coulomb. Okay, microcoulomb siya. Okay, divided by, ano yung distance between them? Okay. So if this is 0.3 and this is 0.4, ito tsaka ito is 0.4, then we have a triangle here, and we know that if this is 0.3 and 0.4, gagamit lang tayo ng Pythagorean theorem, diba? So yung distance between them is square root ng x squared plus y squared, so 0.30 meters squared plus 0.40 meters squared, and kunin mo yung square root niyan, that will give us 0.50 meters. Okay? So in distance between them is 0.50 meters, and then don't forget the square. So this will give us a magnitude that is equal to 0.288 newtons. So F Q1 on Q. Now we can't assign a unit vector here yet kasi this force na ito, okay, has two components along the x and along the y-axis. Okay, what about Q2 on Q? So K Q2Q over R squared. So sorry, 1 on Q. And then ito ay 1 on, 2 on Q. So this is 9 times 10 to the 9 Newton meter squared per coulomb squared. And Q2, okay, since pareho lang siya ng charge, okay, sa Q1, 2 times 10 to the minus 9 coulombs, then 4 times 10 to the minus 6 coulombs, divided by, okay, again, ito ay 0.3, ito ay 0.4, and so ibig sabihin ito ay 0.5. Okay, base dito sa calculation na ito. So 0.5 meters squared, so FQ Q2 on Q will also give us 0.288 newtons. Okay, as expected. Kasi symmetric naman sila. Okay? Okay, now we break these into components. So first we define an angle alpha with respect to the positive x-axis. Okay, ano yung angle alpha na yan? So base dito sa figure, okay, tinitignan muna natin yung ano no, yung ang tawag dito, yung pink, okay, na color. Okay, so we have a triangle here, a right triangle. So base dyan sa figure, we have, okay, so pink na rin gagamitin ko dito para hindi nakakalito. We have cosine alpha equal to, okay, ang cosine, di ba, TOA. So ang cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And dito, ang adjacent side is yung x component over yung hypotenuse, which is F1 on Q. So adjacent is Q1 on Q. And then yung x component niyan, okay, yun yung nakalagay dyan, divided by yung hypotenuse. So FQ1 on Q, okay, which is itong value na ito. Okay, so we can get yung x component, okay, by simply solving for Q1 on Q times cosine alpha. In the same way, sine alpha is equal to, okay, base sa SOHCAHTOA, it's opposite over hypotenuse. So yung opposite is this one, itong side na ito, which has a length that is this one, yung y component. So this is FQ1 on Q along the y-axis, and then FQ1 on Q. So which means that we can solve for the y component, okay, FQ1 on Q times sine alpha. Okay, so we have these two equations, okay, as components of F1 on Q. Now, if we define alpha the same way for the blue axis, okay, for the blue components, okay, we'll end up with FQ2 on Q, X is FQ1 on Q times cosine alpha then, and then yung y component ng FQ2 on Q, okay, is just FQ2 on Q2 on Q, and then sine alpha. Okay, we end up like with the same equations kasi kung titignan nyo exactly the same naman yung itsura ng pink axis, pink na vectors with the blue vectors. Okay? Okay, so we'll stop there, okay, and then continue with the lesson sa Friday. I believe Q1 is 2 times 10 to the minus 6. Oo nga, tama ka. 2 times 10 to the minus 6, not 2 times 10 to the minus 9. Okay. So minus 6 and minus 6. Thank you for the correction. Okay, so kung wala nang ibang concerns, then we'll stop here. Okay, and then continue with this on Friday. Okay, so thank you for coming and see you sa Friday. Online pa rin.